It turns out design has an astronomical impact on business. So let's talk about that and what the upsides and the downsides are of this for us as UI, UX, and product designers. Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from DesignerUp, helping you level up your product design skills. Invision recently released their survey of thousands of companies where they explore the relationship between design practices and business performance. Simply put, what they found is that the businesses that are dominating in their industry are the ones that put their focus, attention, and resources into design. So what does that mean for UI, UX, and product designers? Well, we've got the skills that they want, and the numbers don't lie. But we have our work cut out for us, not just in executing on our skills, but on the sometimes even harder job of convincing stakeholders just how important those skills are to their businesses. The Invision survey comprised 2,200 participants. It's the widest ranging survey of its kind. It covered 24 industries, including government, nonprofit, agencies, and enterprises, and it covered 77 different countries. This is no small survey, and it was done with the utmost analytical rigor. I've linked to it in the description if you're interested in looking deeper into it. To talk about the business impact of design, we have to talk about design maturity. So what is design maturity? Design maturity describes the level at which design thinking and design considerations and problem solving are baked into the business. It's about how well the principles of good design and usability and inclusiveness are acknowledged and integrated into the mindsets of the senior team, the product development cycle, and into the product roadmap itself. Organizations that embrace and integrate design practices report the most positive business outcomes when it comes to product, position, profit, and more. So, how do you know how mature a company is? I'm going to dive into that and what it means for UI, UX, and product designers a little later in the video. But first, I want to talk about the kinds of things that more design mature companies are seeing positively impacted. For one, there's product quality. That's the usability of a product and the overall customer satisfaction and long-term engagement. There's operational efficiency. Those are things like employee productivity and time to market. Then there's business profitability. Things like revenue, conversions, funnel metrics, and cost savings. And then market position. Things like brand equity, entry into new markets, design patents, and valuation. But as you've probably experienced if you've been working in this industry or even applying for roles, is that not all companies understand the value of UX, especially companies at the lower levels of holistic integration and design maturity. For a company to see these benefits, adoption is crucial. This includes involvement from the key stakeholders and how design is considered at every stage of product decision making. So how can we as designers communicate the value of design to companies that are not very mature? Well, there are two parts to that answer. First, as a designer, it's important to understand what level of maturity the company is at in the first place, in terms of their comprehension of the role of design in their business. Invision identifies design maturity in 5 levels, with level 1 being least mature to level 5 being most mature. Level 1 companies are considered producers. For them, design just makes things look pretty. These are the companies that really only look at design as the finishing coat of paint that they throw on after the house is built, if they have the time and resources to do so. At this stage, what you can do as a designer is to help stakeholders and your colleagues see that design is not just an aesthetic gloss. Show them how thoughtful consideration of visual hierarchy and typography can make their jobs easier. Show examples and numbers of how something as simple as showing the tax and shipping on an early checkout page can increase customer conversions. Do your research and let them know why taking these things into consideration in the beginning is really what your job as a designer is about and how much it can help their business, saving them time, resources, and money. If they refuse to see the value, then you have the choice to continue to fill that role of a visual or graphic designer and tend to the facade while slowly planting UX seeds, or simply move on to a company that is at another level of maturity. Level 2, the connector. Companies at this stage are more familiar with design terminology and deliverables like user research, user stories, and usability testing. This is a great time to help this company level up by talking more about design and bringing in developers and other stakeholders into the conversations early on. You can maybe introduce the concepts of design system or atomic design principles. This is where designers can start to introduce more systems thinking to enhance processes. Level 3, architects. Companies at this level are really starting to scale their design operations and functions. They have moved beyond the basics of preparatory design and have more shared ownership and accountability. Design is becoming a part of the ecosystem, but there is opportunity here to pressure test these systems and try new ones to see what's really working and what's not. This is the time for designers to start pushing, experimenting, evaluating, and innovating, and creating mechanisms that they can use to test and measure output and outcome more effectively. Level 4 are the scientists. Organizations at this level are masters of data-driven design. They have very sophisticated practices and systems in place and are constantly measuring, adjusting, optimizing, and innovating. Designers here have the opportunity to really pursue what's important to design with much more authority, autonomy, and responsibility. Designers here are more visionary, and they get to push into new strategies and to the next level. Level 5, at the top of the echelon of design maturity, organizations here are well-oiled design machines. Every system and strategy is intentionally designed and optimally running at the micro as well as the macro levels. These companies are really pushing the boundaries of design and shaping what's to come. Designers at these companies become soothsayers, paving the way for new trends. These are companies like Apple, Google, and Facebook. They're leading the way for others to follow. But that also comes with huge pressures and responsibilities for designers. So looking at this from a bird's eye view, you can see that there are so many different ways to forge a path for yourself as a UI UX designer and to put yourself in a position to help these companies mature. By understanding where they're at, you can push them to grow or push yourself to be challenged at a company that expects more from their designers. The decision is up to you. If you do want help navigating this, however, you can always come find me and my community over at DesignerUp.co. Let me know in the comments the kinds of obstacles that you've come up against trying to convince companies about the value of UX design. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.